Hey team, welcome to this week's drawing class where we're going to break away from our bark drawing and we're going to look at a technique which we're going to start to apply to some features of the face. This week we're looking at planes, and before we do any work on our gorgeous features, we need to just make sure we understand what it means. So using planes when looking at drawing basically means that you're a sculptor and you've been given a block of granite and you're carving your way into it. So when we're looking at an object, you want to work from the big shapes down into the small shapes. So it's all about simplifying a shape, carving into it, and then adding the details. So it sounds quite complicated, but the more we practice and when we look at the fundamentals today, this is going to build up and hopefully improve our understanding of what we're talking about. So grab your pencils and let's get started. To understand planes, we're going to take a cylinder, break it down into a geometric form, and then build it up so that it becomes curved and perfectly round and symmetrical. So first of all, you want to construct your geometric shape. You're imagining that you're taking slices of this cylinder off, and you're starting with your middle plane, your two neighboring planes which get smaller, and then two neighboring planes which are even smaller than that. Once we have that, you start to already feel a bit of curvature on the cylinder, so we can just round those edges because that's nice and easy. And then we're going to start on the shading. So let's think about where our light source is. I'm going to have my light source kind of facing center on, which means my fourth plane and my fifth plane get gradually darker. The central plane is the lightest, and then the first and the second plane are mimicking the other side. So this gives a real sense that something is becoming curved. This is just representing nature. So it's showing you that light is falling off the object and it's getting darker as we go around the object. So once you've done that, you can then just blend your edges, and we're real pro now at blending our edges, and this will change the illusion of a geometric shape into a curved, smooth surface. So it's a very brief summary of how to look at planes and how to break something that's round down into a geometric shape. So let's now apply this to a previous drawing that we've done to see if it actually helps us because we're familiar with it, and just see how we get on with breaking a slightly more recognizable object into a plane version. So let's give it a go. So a good telltale sign is looking for a change of light. So when I'm looking at this mushroom, the darkest part is kind of in the center. So we've got a central plane, and then you've got a left wing and a right wing. So it's not a cylinder, which means I can't see as many planes on the top, but I can see more planes underneath. So I'm looking for a slight pivot in direction because I know underneath is circular, so we're going to make it full of triangles, and then we're going to have the base, which for me is kind of split into two. Again, the light changes. We have a lighter bit on the top and a darker bit on the bottom. Now I could break the stem of the mushroom up into more pieces, but I decided not to, and I instead just decided to go ahead with the shading at this point because there's not much detail going on underneath. So once you've decided your planes, it's time to do shading. So each plane will have its own shade, and you can, or you should usually shade this in evenly, so you won't add any detail at the start. You'll just think, okay, this plane is dark, the next plane is a bit lighter, the next plane is really light, and that's how you get your curvature, because you've broken the object up into shadows. And especially with something curved, usually you can do this. It might seem a little bit challenging, but it's actually a very efficient way to draw. Once you're happy with your planes being shaded in, then you can add the details. So you can round the edges, you can look at any dark bits, any gradients, any really fine detail in there, and then your artwork will hopefully come to life very, very quickly. So it's an interesting method. It is very, very useful in some situations, but you do have to get your head around it. Okay team, I hope you enjoyed that, and as always, if you do want to support an artist, you can pledge just £3 a month to keep these videos going. Just head on over to Patreon and you can get more content, downloads, and just become a pencilier. It's a very logical method, this planes version. So it depends how your brain works as to whether you're going to sit with it well or not. Give it a go, and let's try a couple more drawings to see if it works, because the more you try it, the more you'll understand why you're making these marks and how you're getting to the end result. So best of luck this week, and I hope it's something that you do enjoy or something that you've never tried before, and hopefully we'll improve this in the weeks to come. Thanks folks, and I'll see you next week for another session.